Hello, I'm Derek Bontrager again with Stutzman's. So standing behind the TS740 rake here, I want to point out one of the neat features that comes on all the twin rotor and larger Swadro rakes. There's rear steering built into this, and this is why these are on a two-point chassis. That two-point chassis helps to shift a linkage to the back that lets the rake steer itself as it's going around the ends of the field and even kind of going through the field. This helps to alleviate some berming that you would have by turning or skidding, or just in general, it's not good for the crop that's been cut when you're trying to steer that around and or steer the rake around and without actually having steering on there. And it does help it follow the tractor as well too. So this mechanism is here on the TS. On the TC, it works virtually the same way. Their mechanism is built into the other side a little bit differently, but their whole axle steers on that one, and it's just because it's a little bit shorter coupled versus the TS. Typically, where we would see where we see the difference between the TC and the TS, because it's moving multiple windrows all to one side, is typically going to be used ahead of maybe a big square baler or a chopper, or if you had really light crop and you're trying to move everything ahead for a round baler. It's typically not necessarily going to be used for, say, a small square baler or a round baler, unless maybe, like I said earlier, you're trying to windrow two windrows individually. The TC windrow or the TC rakes can be used ahead of virtually anything, whether it's a round baler, whether it's a chopper, whether it's a big square baler, anything like that. And sometimes they can be used to replace a merger or even just smaller wheel rakes. As I mentioned earlier, how there's a little bit of a bend in these tines, and that is to accommodate as your rotor is coming around, you have some centrifugal force that tends to take the tines and pull them backwards. Krone has their tines with an extra bend in about the bottom 4 inches there, and that little bend keeps the tines so they're still gathering hay as they're moving across and helping to lift that hay rather than drag it across the field, because Krone's big push is that we can make higher quality hay by using a rotary rake versus a wheel rake or a bar rake, because we're always picking that hay up and moving it to another spot. There are foldable tine arms on the TC 760 as well as the 740, and even the 740, if I come over here, this curtain actually, it lifts up and out of the way. It's all spring loaded. The curtain can be adjusted for your various windrow widths, but the reason these curtains can move and the reason the tine arms can fold down is to just cut down on that height when we're transporting them, or if you're trying to get them into a lower shed or something like that. Both of these rakes do transport very narrow. I don't remember the number off the top of my head, but I want to say it's around 8 to 10 feet wide is all that they are going down the road. So I'm going to show you here something real quick. If we were folding this TS740 up for transport, there's several little steps to this. First is we fold this protective guard up. We reach down here and pull the pin on this tine arm, and there's 2 other tine arms just like this. They fold over quite easily, and then the pin goes back in place. And we do the same thing for the 2 other arms here. And then when we go to lift this, and we do the same thing as well on the front rotor as well too. When we go to lift this up, you can either take the curtain off to go down the road. If you're going at a very high rate of speed, it's kind of recommended. Otherwise, just behind a tractor, you're fine. But when you go to fold the rake up, this curtain will actually fold down. That's the, I'll step back here. There's an entire spring-loaded mechanism that lifts that up and flips it over, and it takes a little bit of effort on my part. So it just sits like that when it's folded up, and it's all done through gravity and spring pressure as you're folding up. These Krone rakes are a very high quality build. All the rake arms can be replaced if you say you hit something in the field and need to have something pulled out. It's a matter of a couple of roll pins and heating them up and pulling them out. But there's sealed bearings inside of those to eliminate a little bit of greasing on those. But these rakes are built very well. They're very stoutly built, designed for many years of service out in the farm, or if you're doing custom work or anything like that. So we're really excited about these, both of these models of rakes, that we think they've got good potential in the area that we're at and even surrounding areas. Once again, if you have any questions at all about any of the Krone equipment, whether it be a rake or a tedder or a mower conditioner, we're happy to give you answers here at Stutzman's. Contact myself or any other of the guys here in the sprayer department. We're happy to work with you and happy to tell you what we can do with your operation or for your operation with Krone equipment.